And now let's just connect to these sensors again. So just making a loose fist, touching where the dantian is. That's it. It should just help you, help the mind gather at that point. And then let the other hand just come up by the heart. Imagine there's like a flame licking out of the middle of your palm, the flame of the heart. And then you just imagine the flame getting bigger until its tip is licking up into this point between the eyebrows, the third eye, inside. So it's the pineal gland. So it's some way in the brain. So if you imagine the top of your head, the crown of the head that's trying to go upwards, and your perineum, then there's a line that joins them, a straight line, and these points, dantian, the three dantians are on that line. And now let's rub the hands. And let's try the palming. The hands over the eyes now, trying to block out all the light. And then the hands up, arrow to the side. The eyes are hooded, so they're sort of blurred, looking ahead or down a bit. The hand starts snaking. So you're just about aware of the movement in your peripheral vision. And now just bring the hands up and very gently, hands on the head, around the temples. And now just trying to get a feeling that the head is expanding. So using the hands to suck the two sides of the head away from each other. And then just reaching the arms up. So gravity is the pull upon your body of the earth. Levity is the pull upon your spirit by the heavens. The creatures that have it best are trees. The earth is pulling down their root system, and the sun is pulling up their crown. So it's very much like that. So here we're just making like a collector, like the crown of the tree. We're trying to get this as big as possible, this big canopy. And then continue the hands up, down to prayer. And now let's try this, the pulling and pushing with the belly. So contracting and expanding. So the force can be quite strong, but the important thing is that you apply it gently or slowly, mindfully. Good. Let's just make this shape again. The two hands touching, like the wanting to see your sort of fingers grip a little bit and the thumbs pushing in. So the hands trying to pull away from each other, but the thumbs pushing into each other. So it's a really dynamic structure. There's movement in it. So that should be the case with all of our structures. Okay, let's just do a bit of the butterfly. And then let's try spreading the legs. Just do a bit of kneeling. We'll just go down into the fetus, but first really extend the spine. And separating the feet a little bit, sitting down between them. And again down into the fetus. And then just into the squat. Just trying to bring a bit of a spring into the legs. So slight pressure pushing the knees away from each other. So outside edges, sacrum is relaxing. So the gravity and the levity, really. So without the lightness of spirit, the playfulness, this just wouldn't happen. And then alternating the hands. So now you're being pulled side to side a little bit and turning slightly. Okay. And now let's get the chair and just try a little bit with the chair, just to get into generating energy. So feel that bouncy quality, that sort of springy, elastic quality that we've just been working on. Just using the chair to help generate a flow of energy, which you let the body move along. So I'm going to pull the chair up just with one finger, so hardly anything. And just wait until you feel something and then go with it. And then bring the finger on top, press down, and something will come up. Even if it's just the spirits rather than your body. I'm pulling up. Oh, and I feel that flow down and I let my body go with it. So this is a good exercise for looking at the quality of playfulness that's required to live in a world of energy, to be able to respond to energy. Because energy is really weak compared to force. But if you let it, it captures the whole of you. So you become willing to move. So when we feel ourselves being forced into a course of action, we tend to resist just naturally. Whereas here, the energy is just so gentle, but so seductive. Ooh, you just can't help it but go with it. We want to catch the lightness of spirit that's required and the quality of the movement that comes out of it. So there's a delay between applying the force and the energy taking the body. So we just want to linger within that delay, relish it. Now let's try a little bit side to side, so a bit wider. Now pushing the chair one way, get your body to flow the other. And then let's try with one foot forwards. So you need the foot quite close to the chair, the front foot. And now you're just using the front hand, the hand that's on the same side of the body as the front foot, to pull yourself into the front foot and then push yourself into the back foot. And just try and watch it. So you're just watching every millimeter. So all internal work, spiritual work, is really just concerned with one thing, really, which is waking up, awakening, just being awake to everything. And it is amazing, when you meditate and start looking at it, just realizing how readily you just slip into automatic. simply so that the mind can engage in its own thinking. And let's try a little bit with the other foot forwards. Whole the body. Okay, so let's put the chair away. And just feel that. So let's just do a few bounces just to spring it up again. And then just feel that real lightness. Just feeling gravity streaming down you and the strength from the ground, or they talk about the ground's energy, the earth's energy, creeping up your skeleton particularly. We just want to make sure that each of the joints in the body is sort of sprung open, so there's never any sense of bone rubbing against bone or bone touching bone. There's a sort of cushion of fluid inside each joint, keeping the bones apart and making them really mobile, capable of movement. And now just imagine the chair is here in front of you. And now we're just going to use the chair again to move us side to side, but there's no chair. So it's very much the imagination. So I push my finger on the chair and ooh, I feel myself flowing into that leg. And then this side. Yeah, so we can generate the same quality of movement that we had when the chair was actually there. So just really just feel the movement. It almost floats, almost, ooh, it glides from foot to foot, like a hovercraft. You know, the hovercraft comes up from the sea a little bit. So it's not really touching the sea. So this is the feeling here, almost like you've come off the ground just a centimeter or so, and you just glide from foot to foot. So not only is there like a cushion of air or fluid between the bones, but also between you and the ground. Feel the trampoline, feel the sinking into the skin of the ground, the rubber skin. Let that generate the energy which takes the body. All the time maintaining that fluid separation between the bones. I would just want to really feel the rising coming out of the sinking. Quite a long moment when I'm sinking and the energy is coming up at the same time before it's strong enough to take me. So energy flows. Sink into this leg, something flows up, and my body goes with it. Okay, so let's bring it to riding horse. So no sense that our stillness has set or frozen. We very much want to feel all of these bones capable of lots of movement. I've just quietened it down and let it settle into this dynamic equilibrium, which we feel in the sense most clearly when we bounce. And now let's go side to side again, but now pulling with the leg. So I'm stretching this leg like a piece of elastic. And then I let the elastic go and it will pull back. Trying to feel the spirit The spirit is like in the knee, so the knee breaks and wants to escape. That lifts my heel a little bit, and I get pulled towards this brightness, which is the spirit. Ooh. So the other one where we sink into the leg, that's more like extending out of the darkness, out of the ground. And this one is moving towards the light, towards the spirit. Feel the lightness in the leg, especially the lifting heel. It's a nice way to do the form as well with this lifting heel. So when you're going to move into a foot, just break the knee and lift the heel and let yourself be pulled into it almost reluctantly. The riding horse, all the joints sprung open. So just very, very active, quite intense. Like you're just bursting with life, the life force, with spirit. That lovely phrase of John's, all is energy and everything is in its rightful place. Yeah, so we just want to get to a pitch of awakeness and intensity where not only is everything energy, all is spirit. So it's like the medium that we flow within, that the energy moves within, is a medium of spirit. It's like the Mexican wave in the stadium. People are standing up and sitting down, and it seems that there's a wave moving around. So the vast majority of the people in the stadium have to be really attentive and responsive. So when they feel this movement reaching them, they can respond similarly. So everyone's spirit is vigilant. So this wave is moving around this sea of vigilance, this sea of spirit. And now let's just try, just find a wall. It doesn't, you can we're just going to put one hand on it. Leaning into it, but just gently. So you've got your weight in the far leg. So we're just feeling that line of strength that's through the body. So feel it coming along the arm, across the shoulder blade to the spine, down the spine. Sacrum is really strong. It branches across into the hip and then down the leg. Just feel the line. And then just consciously try to relax everything. But keep that line of strength there. So you're relaxing around the line of strength. So it's almost as though your body is hanging on that line. It's just almost limp. And then just feel that line. Feel it flows one way and it can flow the other. Again, this is energy. And you see how it really requires the relaxation, because without the relaxation, it's just a force. And nothing special about that. But if I can completely relax around it, then I can feel it as this thing that's flowing rather than just a push against the ground and the wall. It's difficult because the body is a different order of strength, really, to the strength that's required to transmit forces. To let energy flow through the body, it has to be relaxed, and yet it needs this line of strength also. So, in a sense, that line of strength is trying to gather everything to join it. And we're having to try and relax, relax, relax. So everything is falling away from that line in order to keep it energetic. And now let's just go backwards and forwards. Just trying to feel the sacrum. Think of the sacrum as being like really heavy. If you think of the spine from the Ming Men down, being the lower spine, and from the Ming Men up being the upper spine. So there's a sense that your legs are actually holding your spine at the Ming Men Dantian. And then the really heavy sacrum just behaves as counterweight that pulls that down so that this can reach up and open like this. That's what we would like when we're doing the form. So that this, the head and the heart, is just totally interacting with my surrounding. It's not concerned with me. So when we do the form, there's a real temptation to do it the way we've always done it, which is technically, feeling arms and legs and having everything sort of a little bit sort of blinkered like this, concerned with our own body and everything. If you look at the pictures of the old masters, their eyes just looked to infinity, even when they weren't working with anyone. They were always looking at the bigger picture. So that's what we want. Moving from leg to leg, again, with the pulling of the leg, just doing this exercise, but feeling the sacrum pulling down all the time. So you have to pull with the leg if you want the sacrum to be loose. Otherwise, if I push with the leg, it's going to push the sacrum up and it's just going to become a lump connected to my leg. I want the feeling that it's sinking down all the time. It's hanging freely between my legs. And it's just so difficult, doing a form with that. You're just constantly having to come back to it. So what I'll do with my students, you get them to do a posture, and I'll just have my hand on their sacrum as they're doing it to just help them keep their mind there, because it's not an obvious part of the body for our attention. We just want to really feel, and you can do it yourself. You can just sort of have the hand on the sacrum, and then it's like it just gives it a little bit of confidence then just to sink. It's a bit like when we stand on one leg. With my elderly students, I always have a chair close by so that they can always put their hand on it if they feel themselves toppling. And just having the chair present is enough to give them the confidence to succeed at the exercise. Feel that sacrum dropping. It's heavy, it's full of mercury. Quicksilver. It's funny, in most of the European languages, it's the same. Quicksilver, argentum vivum. So originally, quick in English didn't mean fast, it just meant alive, lively. So this sense that your sacrum is just full of life, it's bursting almost. It's just hanging down. See how just open you have to be at the hips here. Allow the sacrum to hang like a pendulum. This requires just so much attention, it's almost painful in the mind, not just the body. Okay, let's try a little. You can't do too much of this. Pulling, sacrum is dropping. And feel the spirit, the knee breaking, the spark of lightness, like someone striking a match in the darkness. Ooh. Okay, bring it to riding horse again. Feel the arms just giving the heart a lot of space. So pulling away from here so that this has a big space to expand into. And then exactly the same thing here, feeling that your legs are reaching from the sacrum down to the ground, and that's just giving the danchen a bit more space. First, let's go around the feet in a figure of 8. So each inch of the way you're relaxing. So, ooh, 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 ooh. And then just let it become waving hands in the clouds, which is really just stylization of this. Part of the mind with the heavy sacrum. And now pulling in the rope. So now the cross energy very apparent. My weight flowing one direction along the line and the energy flowing in the other direction along the line. And then let it become the 2 circles. The arm is reaching behind and the chest is softening at the same time. This action enables us to pick up and carry the child. You think, cats and dogs, they have to carry the baby in their mouths. Reaching out to cuddle something in. The more the arm is able to release from the back, the more the inside of the shoulder will soften and hollow. Feeling it in the leg as well, like you're trying to cuddle a piece of the ground up into your groin. The groin is opening. Oh, and then as I turn back, I scoop something from the ground up into it. And this is active legs, as active as the hands if you can. Bring it back. Just feel gravity streaming, flowing through the body. All the joints are springy. If you want to get that, you just do a little bit of bouncing. Just encourage the joints to spring open and feel the ground. Well, the more I can sink into the ground, the more the energy of the earth will creep up through my skeleton and fill it out. So that's pulling the body down. And then the levity is just what's above. It's like the call to cheer up, just to wake up. And, if you wake up, you'll cheer up, basically. So people that are miserable and depressed are generally just half asleep. So if I let the sun or the air or the sky or whatever you want to call it, just encourage me to lighten up, then that's the levity. And basically, when you're meditating, you're just trying to catch both of those really. So you just sit long enough so that what's on your mind, what's bothering you, what's worrying you, can slip away, and then this levity will be revealed. So we have to believe that. So it's just a matter of time and patience, which of course most people don't have nowadays because they're so busy and they're so impatient. Let's just bring the feet up. Okay, so we're always looking for little devices that will help us connect with energy, even when we're not practicing. So one obvious one is just when you're standing, just make sure you're just moving from leg to leg all the time. You've got this sort of little figure of 80 lilt going on. Yeah. So that's an obvious one. So just trying to make sure you never freeze, you never set. Because if the body sets, then the mind will go AWOL. That's what we don't want. Yeah. And then another one is just letting the legs give. So by giving, we mean just bending very, very slightly. So, oh. So it's like I just drop, I let something drop, I let something fall away from me by bending the knees a little bit. And then I have this streaming, I have this movement up and down the body. This is how I just try and explain it to the students. And it's interesting, if they've got to a pitch of sensitivity during the class, then I'll get them standing opposite each other like this with straight legs. And one of them has got their hand on the other one's chest. And then the one that has the hand on their chest just gives. They just bend the legs really slightly. And it's strong because the person with the hand on the chest just feels themselves just falling through that person's body. It's like they're being sucked down into that person's ground. So this is the feeling like you're letting stuff flow through you and just drain into this enormous sink, which is the earth. And you can be like that, when you're doing the cooking, doing the washing up, waiting at the bus stop, anything that requires you to stand seemingly stationary. So just moving from leg to leg, and the leg's always giving way. And then there's another device, which is the tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. So you want to feel that, the necessity of that in a way. So you can just do that all the time. You just want it to become second nature. When you're not talking, your tip of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth, and just feel it's a bit like mind in Dan Chen. It's a bit like an anchor, sort of holds you together. And then you can just be more free because you've got that strength at the core. And then the other one, which is obvious, is just letting the eyes blur. Never letting your eyes focus on anything long. Yeah, so my eyes are more with the circumference of the thing, the periphery, the blurred shape. So my eyes are caressing the objects that I'm looking at. They're not catching an image, which, if you try that with like it's really sensitive people, when you look at them, they'll feel you looking at them. We don't want to give anything away really, so it's just slipping around. So then it's very much like these tentacles from the back of the head that you're bringing around to touch. So touch is just so important. It's only really when I moved here, it was in Nitzan's class once, and he was just trying to get the people to soften. What we would have done to become soft would have been to wriggle, basically, would have been turning and wriggling so that the other person couldn't really put their hands on us with any real capture. So what he was doing was just getting people standing like this and just getting someone to put their hands on their chest. So he came to work with me, put his hand on my chest, and he just says, soften. And I just didn't know what he meant, because I would have just done this. I would have just turned, But he wasn't moving. He was just sinking into it. It says, soften. Soften your mind, soften your heart. And I couldn't do it. And then I realized we'd never really touched each other. Every time we felt a touch, we'd pulled away from it. Yeah. And so just being able to receive a touch and just soften your mind so that that touch goes into your body, it's actually really difficult. Okay, so now let's just bring the feet up, but just coming into the foot in the right way. Yeah, so when we step, I want, I'm not just bringing the weight into the foot like this. That would be pushing from my full foot and just dropping into the empty foot and forcing the empty foot to sort of harden to stop me from falling all the way down. I send the foot out, I put the big toe down, and I pull. I just let the knee come up, and the heel will come up even more, and then I start moving into it. And it's only, I want to keep that heel up as long as I can. It's only at the last minute as I bring the weight into the foot that I let the heel down. And then this foot can come up. So it just keeps the groin more open. Like the sumo guys, you know, their hips and their groins are so open. So their legs almost stick out of the side like this. So pulling, keep the heel up. And then slowly, you only put the heel down when you really have to. And then you can feel as soon as the heel goes down, it sort of earths a lot of my activity. And that just enables me to have a bit of balance when I'm on the foot. Big toe, and then just let the knee liven up. So the knee breaks, it flies up, pulling the heel even higher up. And then slowly I'm sucked into the leg. It's just really, it's, you know, all of these things in Tai Chi is just really difficult. The single weightedness, you know. So there's real activity in this leg. This is totally active. This is just passive and dead, basically. It's just having to hold my weight up. This is really active and it's pulling. And you know, just to feel that point where this starts to fill and become inactive and this starts to empty and become lively. So you're just looking at everything, waking up. That's all we're doing, really. Just looking at the things that we just do all the time in the hope that we can find a better way of doing it. Because all of these things like standing, breathing, you know, we've been doing them so long. And when we started doing them, there was normally a lot of anxiety. Imagine the baby when it comes out, you know, that first breath, it must be so painful. It's like you're tearing yourself in two. I gave a couple their first lesson this week. So as I was teaching, I just thought to myself, why does anyone want to do this? It's so difficult. So what I've started doing with my students now is just to get their hips open or to get them for a feeling of openness in the hip. So they're lying down on the floor on their back, and I just lift a leg and just bend the knee over the crook of my arm, and then I just stand up and let them hang from this lifting leg. So their hip is really just pulled open. And then they can really feel just how open it needs to be. So both legs are really pulling all the time. So I'm pulling with this leg to try and move myself across, but this leg doesn't really want to release me. So I really feel that point where I am being torn in two. And then one more. So pull. This is trying to hold on. And eventually I fail. I give in to that pulling leg. Just a little bit of the bouncing, so how we started. Feel how different it is than when we started. And the bodies are tired now, so it's going to have a different quality. And then just bringing the feet up. And again, just make sure there's that give in the legs. Just feeling yourself on the brink. To relax anymore, you'd faint, you'd just fall, but in slow motion. Let the eyes blur. So not look, it's difficult when we're doing Zoom because we're all looking at the screen. Feel the room and the objects in the room rather than looking at them. So the more advanced we become technologically, the more dominant the vision has become. It's just taken over from all of the other senses, really. So we just want the eyes to almost recede into the background and then just become aware of, what's happening from the ears, the odors in the air. It'd be amazing, wouldn't it, if we had a great sense of smell?